lucky.
I saw you guys just sort of sitting in a...
Yeah, we were in my garage at first.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yes, man. Hey,
I'm like,
but
I
if
don't
it,
recognize this.
but if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have got the opportunity to do this because,
Yeah.
that's the guy who actually looked at us and was like, all right, I see what you guys are doing.
Come over here.
Come over here and make it more professional. And so, hey, we're so grateful for what we've
Yeah.
accomplished so far and the little that we've done it with. And so it's pretty cool to see
Yeah, happy
more
for
things
you
come to
guys.
fruition.
Really.
And we're just happy to have, guests like you guys on,
Yeah.
This is
Thanks
awesome.
for having us.
And this episode 5.
We on episode 5.
Let's
That's
go.
crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy how time flies, right? So obviously, guys, we have Holly Beck here, Jacqueline Duke, and Stacy. What's your last name?
Taylor.
Now,
Stacy
is it
Taylor.
Taylor now or
Holly Beck Taylor.
Holly Beck Taylor? Okay, there we go. Okay, cool.
In addition to...
Perfect, man. Well, we are so happy to have every single one of you guys on, and having a local person in Sarasota that have done what you've done, there's nobody better. So we'll definitely get into that right off the rip. How did you get into the Sarasota show, and why has it changed so many names?
Oh, you mean the Tournament of Champions?
Yep, and then the Iron Man before that.
I'll let him speak to that because he's been... the
So
driver of the
I can
name.
give you the.
Behind the
I don't want to
scenes
give you the
guy.
long version. I'll give you kind of the sum up. I've been promoting since the early '90s, and after I had won the Sarasota back in I think it was '92, I then took over that show and promoted that show for a number of years, and then promoted the Junior Florida as well, which was here in town, which was a qualifier for the Junior Nationals, Junior USA. I then, to be honest with you, I just kind of got bored with the sport. I'd been in it so long, and I stepped away, and I got rid of the shows. Basically moved out of town, just kind of left everything, and then came back into town a bunch. I've been in and out of Sarasota for the last 30 years, and decided when I came back in to stay that I wanted to bring a show back into town. Without getting into a long dissertation, to get a show, you have to meet a certain criteria, and there's nothing written. It's just that the MPC and the IFBB have to know that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the fact that I had a history of promoting kind of got, I had one foot in the door already. So I told them that I wanted to have another show in town. And it took me a couple of years because the MPC right now is not accepting any new shows in Florida. Florida has the largest number of shows in the country. So they're not accepting any new MPC shows. So I had to wait until basically there was a spot available through someone maybe not wanting to promote again, or something happened in one of the shows. And then I was kind of next in line, that type of deal. So
Gotcha.
jumped next in line, did the Iron Man, which was a name that I knew this was going to happen. I'm not going to say I did it purposely, but I kind of knew it was going to happen. The Iron Man has a name. It's got a recognition attached to it.
Yep.
So I thought that it might come back on me, and sure enough, it did. So I did the first year. When I did the second year, the Iron Man organization contacted me and said, hey, you're using our trademark, blah, blah, blah. So
Gotcha.
I changed it from Iron Man to Tournament of Champions.
Yep.
And then from Tournament of Champions, the show is still it's still Tournament of Champions. However, we're branding it under the Florida Pro.
Gotcha.
Because there is a Florida state. So for us to have the NPC Florida State, that would not jive with with that show that happens in Orlando. Deke Warner is the promoter of that show. It's a great show every year. So we still have to have it's exactly like this. You have the Tampa Pro, and then you have the Tim Gardner Extravaganza.
Yep.
So when people say they're doing the Tampa Pro, if they're an amateur, they're not actually doing the Tampa Pro. They're doing the Tim Gardner Extravaganza.
absolutely, right.
But everyone says they're doing the Tampa Pro.
Right.
So it's the same type of deal. If you're a pro, you're doing the Florida Pro.
Right.
And if you're an amateur, you're doing the Tournament of Champions. However, it's all being branded under the Florida Pro.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
that actually makes a lot of sense because I go to Google stuff and I'll look up Tampa Pro and I'm trying to find the NPC competitors, but you guys just rebrand it as
Exactly.
a whole different thing. So you got
And
the
the
Florida
plan
Pro.
is once Deke decides that he doesn't want to do the Florida anymore, the fact that I've been involved for so long, I'm a judge, a promoter,
Yep.
blah, blah, blah. I hope to kind of absorb the Florida if it becomes available and there's not someone else that would, that would take a shot at doing that. I'd like
Right.
to absorb the Florida State into the Florida Pro and make it all one thing.
Gotcha.
But that Deke has that show and it's his show, and I would never do anything to step
Yeah.
on his toes.
Yeah,
So that's where it all stands right now.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
That it's also a nice title to win. Like the Iron Man sounded like a good title to win. Tournament of Champions, I won that, or the Florida Pro. It's good to have that under your belt.
The title says
No,
a
it's
lot.
amazing.
I want that.
Yeah.
You want it.
I want that right here.
Yeah.
I want that
I
title
won the
of
Florida
Pro.
Pro.
Put that in your-
It's a name.
Yeah.
It jumps out at you as opposed to
Right.
I won Joe Schmo's show. nobody really wants that, you know.
Yeah, no, I think you guys' names are super, super good, and that's why we put both of these guys in your show this year.
That's awesome.
So we're super
No
excited.
pressure. No pressure.
Yeah. So we know that it was the first time, Sarasota's having a pro show, so we had to throw Jacqueline in there, so she will be competing. Dustin's probably going to be
I'm gonna do it.
Unless that was the whole plan. Like, whether we want to make 2 runs this year with him, so
Yeah.
we're going to do this run. If not, we'll probably settle down depending on how this weekend goes potentially, but we'll keep pushing. We're definitely going to hit your show. But even besides that, with our team, what do we got? 15 people probably doing your show?
Yeah, I mean, I got
awesome.
3 right
No, I'm not
now,
lying.
and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have another one.
And I have
here
12.
pretty
You're
soon.
after the Trainers Award. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying,
We
man.
get that's too easy, but that's ours.
Well, that one there is nothing compared to what we're giving them.
I heard it's a lot bigger than that.
It
huh?
is the Stanley Cup.
Oh,
Yeah, I see.
Same
I seen
size,
it. It looks
the whole
massive.
deal.
oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, when
I'm
I see that, it's
excited.
funny. Everyone's tagging me. Everyone's blowing me up about the trainer stuff and stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna try.
Hey, man,
I'm gonna
that'd
try.
be
I'm
cool.
super excited, man.
Make it worth
The
your
fact that you
while,
guys do
for
that.
sure.
Yeah. No, I'm pumped.
Yeah,
So what
we'll
does
toss
it
some
take
pieces.
to add pro to your show? Because last year was NPC only.
Yeah.
And
It's
how
a-
did you decide
have
what
to
divisions to
Have a
add?
reputation. to
Yeah,
be that way.
it takes the IFBB has to know that the IFBB Pro League and the NPC are now one organization. It's basically 2 companies under one umbrella. So the IFBB needs to know that you know what you're doing, because essentially there have been some shows in the past, in decades past, where people have gotten a pro show and offered prize money, and then the show happens and there's no prize money. So they need to have complete faith in you that you know what you're doing and you're going to stand up and do what you say you're going to do. And if there's prize money, you're going to give that prize money away, and
Right.
you're going to meet all your requirements that
Gotcha.
are set forth. So that's what it takes. It takes kind of a reputation, a good reputation, to be able to nail that down. Secondly, and just as important, it takes a ton of money.
Yeah.
To be able to put on, just to be able to have a show and call it an IFBB Pro League show, it's tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And it depends on what sanctions you're getting. Each sanction is close to 5,000. I think it's 4,500. So when you add up all those divisions, depending, sometimes you're looking at $35,000, $40,000
Wow.
just to be able to call it.
What
a
about
pro
are
show.
you talking about masters and everything? One of those,
All-
35, 45, you have to pay
all
5
of
for
those
each?
cost something. So
Wow.
if you get a pro division for 45, you get a master's division with it. If you just pay for a master's division, that master's division is $1,500.
Gotcha.
So all of our sanction fees for the show for just the IFBB come to right at $20,000.
Yeah.
And that's just money you pay, and you don't get
Yeah,
anything
you don't get
for
nothing back.
other than just to be able to call it. And you get some insurance. You get insurance out of that.
Are
But
there
you get the
any-
recognition as well.
Are there any shows that are like not Olympia qualifiers? Like, is that something that is on top of that you got to pay for to make it an Olympia
It is
qualifier?
new now that if you win a pro show, if you win your division,
Right.
you have qualified for the Olympia.
Exactly.
In Holly's day, when she competed at the Olympia, it sounds kind of harsh to say, but it wasn't that easy. You had to compete again and again and again and rack up a point total to
Right.
be able to qualify.
Yeah.
Now it's not saying it's easy, but it's easier where you can win one show and then take the rest of the time off the entire year.
Yeah.
And then do the Olympia, as opposed to try show after show after show after show, and then by the time you get to Olympia, you're whipped.
Yeah,
You
you're
may
burnt.
not be able to get yourself into shape.
So that's how it was in her day, pretty much.
much more
So
difficult.
not
Yeah.
every show was Olympic qualifier when you were competing.
That is correct. Yeah.
Got you. Wow. So you could have won 3 shows and still not qualified. That's crazy. I'm actually kind of happy because I feel like our pros do deserve it, but it does get overpopulated, I think, the Olympia. Especially, what was it, 2 years ago? There was like, oh my God, was it 50-something bikini competitors? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
God,
60-something men's physique.
it's a lot, so that's kind of crazy. But either way, we have one in Sarasota. So we have classic physique, if I'm not mistaken, bikini. Is there another one?
Men's physique,
Men's physique
and figure.
Wow.
Her being a figure pro and me being class
Have to
physique
do it.
pro.
Yeah.
Those are the two that we really wanted.
Yep.
And then we just kept going with, well, why don't we add this?
Yeah.
Why don't we add that? And
And I
it
wanted
just
the
kept growing.
masters.
And we wanted the masters
Yeah.
as well.
That's amazing.
If we have classic physique, or if we have figure, we have figure masters. If we have men's physique, we have men's physique masters. We have classic physique, but there was no classic physique masters available for our date because there's another one in Texas, so we chose men's bodybuilding. for the masters.
Oh, wow.
So it's 35, 40, and 50.
Wow.
Men's
So we have
bodybuilding.
men's
Oh, that's
bodybuilding
cool.
masters. That's kind of
Nice. Yeah, that'd be good to see them.
Masters, yeah.
Nice. I mean, this town is growing so fast. I mean, the Masters competitors I have, are just crazy. Like they're the most disciplined people. Like Natalia,
sure.
she won your show last year, and she is so disciplined and determined to turn pro. And I truly feel like she'll make it to Olympia. So we just switched her over to women's physique.
Yep.
But so maybe we could bring that in there. You know,
awesome.
a lot of women's
For
physique
her.
competitors around here, but you know, that's something new we haven't really talked about. But she's just outgrowing. She wants to keep growing. You know, so that's probably how you started. You know, you started
sure.
out and just you keep going. You know, how did you end up in figure?
Well, interesting you brought that up. The IFBB and the NPC did not have bikini, and they did not have women's physique. They only had bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding, and figure. So kind of have to make a choice
Yep.
right there.
Yeah.
And I was tiny to begin with, so putting on, 15, 20 pounds to even show up as a
Yeah.
figure pro was quite a challenge. But
Yeah, 'cause they didn't
anyways,
have
started
bikini.
Small. Started small.
Yeah, and then you just kept growing and kept growing.
Yeah, and that's how figure has become what it is today. Is like bikinis on the
Yeah.
scene. That's the slim, streamlined
Yeah.
physique, and then figure is moving into. Well, there wasn't even women's physique back then, so.
So if you
It's only
could,
bodybuilding,
if
that,
you
very
could
cut and dry.
compete now, would you have done bikini or would you have done figure?
Well, I did compete last year as
Yep.
a pro bikini because I did not have enough size to do masters figure.
Right.
So-
you feel like the sport has kind of
Probably.
evolved in a way that's
Absolutely.
just it's really hard. And that's kind of what the next
it's
thing I
not
want to
hard.
talk about.
It's just that's the other category.
Yeah.
There, instead of being two categories, there's many different categories you can fit in. Like say, Natalia, she wants to grow, so she's got another category to go. Good.
Yeah.
And if somebody's just starting out, you've got bikini. That's good. Bikini pro, even better.
Yeah.
You can grow into that.
Right.
So
But if you were going there and you were competing now at this stage, you probably would do bikini. If you could go back in time and same physique, everything, what would you
when
do?
bikini first came out, and I was doing figure, I approached my coach, who at the time was like, "Holly, your shoulders."
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Your genetics. Then you're not. So that could have been what she said to me at that time. But anytime a girl comes to me, or you look at their genetics. Where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna grow?
Yeah.
Are they gonna grow here? Are they gonna grow there?
Yeah.
What are they best suited for? So.
Got you. It's kind of like what was going on with her. Like when we were prepping last year, her shoulders were just getting too big. And so eventually we cut them down, and now it's like we're already stacked up stairs. So now it's just bringing in the lower half. So yeah, the sport has evolved so much, just in the past since you've competed back then to now.
love it.
It's crazy. Yeah.
love
I
being
stepped
a
away.
judge.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say I stepped away for a decade, and when I came back, I didn't recognize it.
Yep.
It was a totally different sport, totally different.
Yeah.
I was in the a lot of the I can't think of his name, Mr. Olympia.
Jacqueline for
No, further back.
Ronnie Coleman.
In the Ronnie days, but
Jay
I know
Cutler.
Jay Cutler. I know his name like I know my own. I can't even think of it. In the Cutler days, those were
Yeah.
the days I was completely gone.
Yeah.
So then when I came back, this men's physique thing was new, and I just didn't recognize any of it. So if you're in it for that period of time, you could see it change slowly, but you don't really realize how much it changed unless you had stepped away and then compared the two. It's just it's nowhere near what it used to be, because my day it was just men's and women's bodybuilding. And that's it.
Yeah.
What pulled you
Nothing else.
back? The sport has a tendency to kind of pull people
it's
back once they think
That's
they're out.
there's your
They're
answer.
done.
You get to once you step into the gym and you start seeing this progress that you make, and it's very addictive, and this little bug crawls in your ear, and it's a one-way street. It just rattles around in there forever. And just eventually it hits a nerve. And when it does, that's when you start. Maybe I should do a show.
Yeah.
It just kind of pops back in your head. So.
Is that kind of what happened with Holly?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's a good segue for you, right? Because you took you said a retirement, right? Or a hiatus.
A couple of times in my career I did that.
And then you came back in full swing and then got your pro card, right?
I stepped away maybe for about a year and a half, and I came back, and boom, I won a coastal show, national qualifier, and then I went it was Southern States, and then bam, right after that, Hollywood. And I got my pro card in my height category
Nice.
in national. So, a couple years off, and then this last time, I thought that's what you're referring to, was like 2018. We did a show together.
I was
Bucket
done.
list.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Bucket
You did a
list.
show together.
Which
We did a
one?
show.
Wow,
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
was
know that.
done. I didn't want bodybuilding anymore. I was, as far as competing goes, I just
I
didn't
wanted
want
to
it
do it.
anymore.
Yeah.
So she said she was going to do Pittsburgh, and she
Just
said, "Why don't you do a
I've
show
done
with
it
me?"
4 years in a row. I was like, I want that first place. So I'm like, I want to go back and do it.
So
Come
she
with me.
did. She told me, or asked me, why don't you compete? And I was still an amateur at the time.
Right.
I was like, babe, I'm done. Just I'll go and support you. And she
Yeah.
said, come on. She just kept nudging me. I was like, all right, so I'll get back in shape. And I wound up winning my class in Classic at the North American, got my pro card, just out of the blue. But a side note to that was I was really having some difficulty in retaining some size. And if you see my pictures from that show, I was really thin and just looked the worst that I ever looked in my life. I mean,
You were always going to be so harsh on yourself.
it was really bad.
I feel like I look like trash right now, but
I was having a hard time keeping on any weight at all. And, I had dieted enough times. I've done dozens of shows. I dieted enough to know that, I should be holding more weight and I'm just not. And I kept getting leaner and leaner and leaner, no matter if I ate more and more and more. And come to find out during that whole time I was fighting cancer.
Wow.
And I didn't know I had cancer.
I didn't know that either.
I wound up competing and not looking the way I should have, but still did well. Still did well.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got your pro card.
I got my pro card. So and then after that, the cancer came on full blown, and that kind of knocked me out of ever competing again. So.
Well, at least you live vicariously through her in your show now.
Yeah,
Like, how does that mean to you guys when you see, like, when you're able to give all this back to the community and back to the sport? How much does that mean to you guys, being former athletes?
We both love the sport so much. These shows are businesses for just about everybody, and there's a whole economic kind of blueprint behind the whole thing, and you can make money, but we tend to put so much back into the show that whether or not we walk away with any money is irrelevant. We're lucky enough to be at places in our lives where we're secure and we can afford to do something like this. And if we walk away with some money in the end, it's great. But if we don't, as long as I'm not losing money, then we do it because we love it, and Sarasota is our hometown. She was born and raised here. And I've been here 3 decades.
Every
So
gym in Sarasota possible.
we just wanted to bring something back here.
Yeah.
We wanted to make it different than everybody else.
it's very noticeable for you guys. I mean, the moment that you step in there to do check-ins, and then from check-ins we go in, and then you go through all the booths. And we talk to all the different people. You see Tim there. You go to you, and you got like your skincare products in your little bag, and you hand it. And then on this table you got a full stack of just 5-0 donuts. You know what I mean? And all my athletes are like, "Oh, you're not eating that right now." Okay.
I swear to God, last year, not lying, they were like, I had a client text me like, "We get the donuts. Like, are we allowed to eat these right now?" I was like, "No, we're getting on stage and
see
tomorrow."
Yeah.
I forgot who that was, but literally,
There's a
that was
reason
so
why
funny.
we had to hand them out
The
ahead of
year
time.
prior, we put them in the athlete room with the
remember that.
pizzas, and people were walking out with 5 or 6 of them.
Oh man,
And
yeah.
they're expensive.
They are.
expensive.
So
They
we
are.
made sure that we wanted to give them to them after the show, so they wouldn't be tempted. But we had to give them to them before, so everybody got one
No, it's
because
so
we had
cool.
people
That's so cool.
that didn't get any. And that's just
Everybody
not
got
right.
one.
Yeah.
And then
Pass
even,
them out.
like you said, after the shows, you guys bring all the pizza. You remember
Pizza,
where
man.
did we go?
We're
to
in
that posing
Tampa.
seminar, right? We're like, man, we need
Shout
pizza.
out.
Holly got pizza.
know.
They got pizza, right? And then you guys
Fucking
look at the Oreo table. I'm like, woo.
know.
Well,
Wish I could
we've
compete
done
here.
enough shows where we know what athletes want, and what they like, and
We're just
you know,
how to be treated.
Yeah, it's
we,
so
we
awesome.
just want it to be an experience.
Well, the Opera House.
We feel
is
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys probably grew up going there, but just
Well,
being new
it's
here and
recently
seeing the
remodeled,
Opera
so
House, I haven't
it's
seen
really
a show
cool.
at a venue that
Well, you know
beautiful.
that Opera House is cool
Historical.
because Elvis
Yeah.
stood on that stage, and to
Yeah.
be able to stand in the same spot as some legends like that is really cool. But the Opera House, they just did like a $22 million renovation, and
Wow.
we'd like to move the show to someplace really nice to be able to bring in more vendors. We've
Yep.
tried Van Wezel. They just won't work with us.
Why?
I don't understand why. I've had trouble with Van
crazy.
Wezel the last 3 years. They won't return my calls or emails, or they'll tell me that you have to book early. So then I try to book early, and they tell me, well, you can't book this early.
Right.
You have to book later. So then I try to book later, and they said, well, you didn't book early enough. It's just this
Wow.
battle that I go through with them. But we wanted to take it someplace where it was very conducive to having a lot of vendors and being a bigger experience than what we have at the Opera House. But the Opera House treats us right. So
I think it's great. It's almost like an old school, like exactly you said, Elvis like type environment. So when you go in there, it's so much different. Like
It's
usually,
cozy.
if you go to any show in Orlando, they have these big convention centers. And those are cool, right?
It's a hotel.
It's kind of a hotel, and I feel like it's a little bit nicer to have something like that. I think Van Ways, of
more
course, would be a
intimate,
step
for
up, but
sure.
I definitely like it for sure. Because when you go out, you got like the lights, and it looks like a movie theater kind of, and it's pretty
It's
sick.
so
Holly said
Actual
something that
stage.
I like to make a
that kind of set the tone for me. I mean, I always like it's a theatrical performance. It's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not an athletic competition. It's a theatrical performance.
Yeah.
And Holly has been an athlete her whole life, and she used to swim. So she said that some of the shows that she's been to in the past feel like swim meets. You know, there's just not much to it, you know,
Yeah.
We wanna have
and we don't want that.
a vibe.
You know, we want a
Performance.
vibe
Performing
and
arts.
something really
That's what
cool.
we're doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Creating an art form on stage. So
Yeah, no,
We want the athletes to walk
you
away with an experience.
Yeah, and you could tell 100%. The second you're there, it's just the environment's awesome. And we actually do have a lot of coaches in town that are just we're trying to bring bodybuilding up with us, you know? Like our team keeps growing. I know you got Big Serve. He brought a bunch of people in there last year. So I just love the fact that like you guys are doing the team awards. Some people don't do that. And I love it. I know it's hard for you guys, you know, it just because not everyone can win, right? But I feel like everyone who doesn't win still wins. Because I remember going to these shows when I first starting out and I'm looking around and like I would see other teams win. I was like, man, someday I'm going to get that. Someday I'm going to get that. And then I think last year, I think I got the Mel's right before you guys. And then I got you guys. And then we went to Hurricane Bay, and that one was just that was a shock to me because that wasn't really a local one for us. You know, I Mel, you're my local one. Okay, that's perfect. We went to there. It was like wow, I was pretty shocked on that one, but it was
I
a battle.
wasn't.
You know, I wasn't shocked, but it
I
was.
wasn't. We got that,
You know,
baby.
it was. You know, I was very surprised about that one, but I love the fact that you guys are doing that.
It's so cool.
It is awesome, man. Especially
you know,
these trophies.
Whether it be you or some other team or anybody, you know, if they're going to bring us athletes, I'm grateful for that. You know, I mean, you know, I don't know that some promoters think this way, but you know, almost as if they deserve you bringing them athletes. I don't think I deserve anything. I'm appreciative of the fact that you bring athletes to my show because you've got 40 shows to choose from.
Yeah.
Why would you bring them to my show? You know, and we just want to show our appreciation for you guys choosing us. It's as simple as that because we're not the only choice. And that's what we also try to do is set our show apart from every other show. Doesn't matter what organization it is. We're giving you an experience. If you're going to pay me as an athlete $110 for a sanction, I mean for an entry, I owe you something for that $110. I'm not giving you the opportunity to stand on my stage for $110.
Yeah.
You gave me $110, so I owe you something back. You know, so I'm going to give you at least $110 worth.
Yeah,
of whatever that is.
Yeah, no, and I know not everyone, like I said, not everyone can do it. Not everyone can get the team award, right? But it's what sets you apart. Like, I mean, I know like when we go to shows, like we have a huge local presence. So when we go to your guys' show, when we go to Mel's show, we bring freaking 50 team members in there with us sometimes.
Right,
Like,
sure.
not even just that. Like, we have 10 people we make them do true novice, and open. Like, I know that's extra money in your guys' pockets, but for us, like having an awesome show and the team award that we're fighting for, like that means so much to us coaches, man. I'm telling you. And I go to a lot of shows and they don't do that. And it's just disappointing. You know, I feel like I know it's hard because you almost have to like, but I like the way we do it. I think you guys do it like with a point system or however you do it. Keep it like that because it
has to do with the number of athletes that you bring. I mean,
Yeah.
just a quick example is if you as a coach brings one athlete and then one athlete places first and wins the overall, you know, that's not as good as if you bring us 5 athletes and your 5 athletes take second place across the board.
Exactly.
You know, you brought us more athletes, not just one, and they did a better average based upon the numbers as your one person. So, you know, we try and do it so it's fair, you know, so.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and honestly, I'm just shocked. And let's get to this right
Yeah,
here,
trophies.
because this is beautiful. Oh my god!
Thank you.
Like when you made this for me, I knew it was gonna be nice. I didn't think it was gonna be this nice, you know. And I know you made some new ones probably, but let's talk a little about that. I know you make a lot of the trophies for the IFBB and NPC, right?
I make a realistic number. I probably make trophies for 70 to 80% of the shows in the country.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's NPC, IFBB. I also do the medals. I do close to 90% of all the medals in the country. That's not including all my international sales.
Yeah.
I've done stuff for the Arnold amateur in Australia many years in a row, Tony Daugherty's show. I just had somebody from Tahiti contact
you
me
up.
and asked me to send them trophies to Tahiti. I'm like, dude, you want 4 trophies? It's going to cost you a ton of money for 4 trophies.
Just to
But
get
yeah, I get inquiries all over the world. I've sent them to Israel. I've sent them everywhere. So I'm very thankful.
Yep.
That's awesome. Very
I think
thankful.
did you do NPC Nationals? I think you did, right?
1 year. Yeah.
1 year. Was that last year? Was it 2 years
the
ago?
national awards?
Yeah.
I sponsor those awards myself every year.
Okay, that's what I
do all
thought
the
because I
overalls.
see
Yeah.
them and they're very similar to this. They're super big and nice and like wow.
Yeah,
They're
it is that exact base
Yep.
and that trophy. Yeah.
So they're all
Across the
made
board.
here
They are all made here. Yeah.
in Sarasota.
Yeah.
in Sarasota,
Yeah.
American made.
My hand has
Nice
touched
Stacy.
every one of those. Every one I make by hand.
Trophies,
Yeah.
literally.
And you're giving out rings at your show this
Rings
year?
as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta get the ring.
Oh yeah. Are you guys doing first in your class for that, or what are you guys doing? Or overall winners?
Overalls are definitely going to need a ring.
And the trophy.
Nice.
The long story short is there's a kind of an economic model behind all of that, and you know that your show is going to bring in X amount of dollars based on your athlete total. It's just an average of doing it so many years, and you have to stay within that budget. and you have to say to yourself, do I want to spend a lot of money on awards, or do I want to spend a lot of money on the athlete experience? And I liken it to this very simple example. You can go to a party that really sucks. It just really sucks. And you get one good picture out of the whole party, right? That's your trophy. Or you can go to a party that's just off the chain and the best party you've ever been to, you're having such a good time that you forgot to take a picture. Which one would you rather have? The experience or the trophy that's going to remind you of a party that wasn't so great? So it depends on where we want to spend the money, and usually we wind up spending the money at the Opera House. If we don't sell the hotel rooms that we're supposed to, we're responsible for that block. So that could be tens of thousands of dollars. So there's a lot of money involved. We have to watch our sanction fees. We have to watch prize money. Along with the sanction fees for the pros, there's tens of thousands of dollars worth of prize money we have to give. So it's a lot. So you have to dictate where you want to spend your money. And make sure that you don't get yourself into too big of a hole that you can't dig yourself out. So that's why we spend 10, 12 grand on the Opera House. And that's just the Opera House. That's not the union crew that has to come with it. They're another, $5 grand. So it's very expensive.
We pay them.
That's crazy, man. Like
the expediters and all that.
It's
That's separate. That's even more.
That's the crew to run it. We're talking about.
So do you guys
the
pay
Opera House.
the expediters and all that?
Oh, yeah.
Every single person has. You guys have to pay that. So the NPC and IPB don't supply that.
No.
So what does the NPC and IPB have to? What do they pay for then?
Insurance.
How do they pay for?
That's
Insurance.
it.
Insurance. So they're covering everything just in case someone gets hurt, stuff like that. Got you. So you pay them a
That's why
sanction
everybody
fee.
has to have an NPC card.
Got you.
So they belong to that.
So that gets me on another topic. Like, why aren't they giving out swords?
Yeah,
for
what was that?
awards?
Somebody dropped a sword on their toe or something like that. What was
Exactly
that?
why.
Yeah.
I used to supply all those swords.
Yeah.
There was a show in West Palm that the promoter's now retired, but it was after the show, and it wasn't even a competitor. It was a competitor's friend.
Yeah.
Wow.
The competitor had won a sword. The friend took the sword, was swinging it around, and cut her foot.
Wow.
And she sued the NPC and won.
She sued the NPC and won.
Wasn't even an athlete, shouldn't even have been backstage.
Jesus.
So
Christ.
that's the story that was told to me, and I'm usually 99%, in the
Wow.
correct
Yeah, you're
on
in
those
there. You
things.
know
So
what's going on.
That's the way it
Wow.
was told to me, true or not. But that's when
Somebody
they
got
came
cut.
down and said, no more swords.
Jesus. So they took
At
all
all.
the swords out.
Took all the
At
swords
all.
out. Yeah.
Jesus, I know. You know how nice it was to get the swords? Like, that was the coolest thing.
That's
Seeing
the only
everyone
thing I
racing
wanted.
those swords. I'm glad I competed when I did.
I'm happy I got a sword.
Yeah, I did get a sword.
Anything with a sharp edge.
Yeah. That's
But I'll
good.
tell you this: if you as a
Well,
competitor
it's-
win and you would like a sword, just contact me. I can get
You
you
heard
one.
it here first, guys.
Yeah.
If you want a sword, you got to
You
contact
can always
him.
upgrade your trophy.
Sure
you
Yeah.
can.
That tailor-made trophy.
That's awesome. Yeah, Natalia actually said that. She's like, when I win, when was that last year that happened? So, like,
Yeah.
not even. So, Natalia's like, she saw me get a sword, saw him get a sword. She's like, I want my sword. She's like, when I get my sword, I'm going to put it up on my bed. You ain't getting a sword, Natalia.
You can get it
I got a
upgraded.
danger.
But I like the
Get it upgraded.
shields. I like
Yeah,
the
she got a
shields.
shield.
Are super freaking
Yeah.
cool. Do you guys give out? You guys never give out shields, right?
We don't do the shields. I do those for Tim.
Gotcha.
He likes
Yeah,
those shields.
I did win one of
We
those.
try to
Actually.
differentiate ourselves from the
Yeah.
promoters.
Makes sense.
No, it's super sick.
No, you do good.
I like the shields. I like the rings. I mean, just literally anything little extra like that is like something that you don't need to do, because I go to a lot of bigger shows,
Yeah.
that have like 700 athletes, and they'll give one little medal to like the top three.
Yeah.
I'm like, what about 4 and 5? Like,
Yeah.
I fly out all around the country and go to these shows. It's embarrassing. Like,
Well, no matter what show we do, or no matter what we give away at any show we do, the top 5 will always get something.
Yeah.
You
That's
know, and
great.
it just
Okay, so-
it varies what it might be from year to year. I will tell you
Because
this:
of the price of it.
we used to give away trophies for 1st through 5th, and whether or not we're still going to do that depends, because of all the shows that I see across the country and basically across the world, giving trophies through 5th doesn't really attract more competitors than giving trophies for 1st and then medals
Yep.
2nd through 5th.
Right.
So it just depends, but if we're not going to offer trophies 2nd through 5th for statues and decide to give medals for those places, then we put that money back into the show in another way. We've got a $160,000 LED screen. That screen you see.
Loved it.
That's ours.
So awesome.
So we can create any type of environment we want to.
Yeah.
no,
So
it's super sick.
Because if you think about it, if we were debating, should we do this show? Would it ever cross my mind? They don't really give big enough trophies for
No.
3rd place. I don't think I'm going to do that one.
Yeah.
back in the day, that used to be a consideration, but athletes have gotten so used to it now that it's become the norm. So we'll put that money into something else. Whether it be something nicer in the venue or something that adds to the experience. It's as simple as that.
So like, how big are we expecting the Florida Pro and the what is it, Tournament Champions still? How big are we expecting that? Because to be honest, man, like last year it was big. Like the whole thing was pretty much sold out. So if we're talking probably twice as big of a show, are we going to be able to have all those people in there at the Opera House?
We're gonna go to the
Several
second
different
deck?
events. That's a good idea, but not yet. But it's separate events. So
Like
all
Friday's
those
the
people-
pros, right? Is that
it's
how you
one-
guys
it's
do it?
one day.
Different
It's
time.
one
Wow.
day. It's just different times during the day.
Okay.
Like the morning will be the NPC. Mid-afternoon is probably more like the pros. We'll have that all in mind here soon.
The schedule is actually on the site. It's IFBBFloridaPro.com.
Okay.
That is subject to change, but the
Yeah.
basic format is laid out right now. It's hard to tell what to expect the first year you add a pro division, or anything like that. So, a good example is the Daytona Pro. When the Daytona Pro added their pro divisions, the first year it was insane.
It was insane
There
last
last
year.
year.
Trust me.
So they moved it to a 2-day show. So we're not really knowing what to expect with this. We do expect it to be big, but when you go into a 2-day show, there's a whole another set of logistics that come into play.
Yeah.
You double your cost for just about everything. So
People running the show, judges.
first show might be a little difficult. The first year might be a little packed, but if that's the case, then we'll make it a 3-day show if we have to.
Yeah.
We'll make it comfortable and we'll make it right. It's just there's just no way to tell right now. But I will say this: the very first day that the schedule came out for the Florida Pro, I had 2 inquiries from the Middle East. One guy from Iran and one guy from I think it was Qatar. That
People are watching.
immediately sent me an email saying, you need to send me an invitation letter so I can get my passport ready. you know?
Wow.
And that was the same day it popped up on the IFBB Pro site. So, extraordinary responses already. And plus we've got probably
Highlighted.
a dozen and a half signed up for the NPC already, which is a lot considering we're still 14, 15 weeks out. That's a long way.
One of those are mine for sure. Kevin
Yeah.
signed up,
Kevin,
Kevin signed up
He's been a
for-
big help.
Yeah, he's gonna kill it, man. Like he actually joined the team not even 2 months ago. So, and we're planning on
He
we're
looks
coming
good.
in there swinging,
He
man.
looks
Don't
good.
worry
I've
about
seen
that.
pictures of him. He looks
I'm looking
good.
Yeah.
forward to seeing his
He's really
transformation.
sick, man.
He's gonna be.
Yeah, he's gonna be an absolute beast. But
Yeah.
something I think that we loved a lot was like, I don't know how you guys are planning on structuring it, but I loved having the pros go on first, right? Like I don't know how exactly you guys want to do it, but like for this past show we just went to, the pros were on at 9 o'clock. That's just how they did. Pros were on at 9, embassy was right following, right?
yeah, embassy
that was
was-
really nice for the pros. I feel like they've earned that right.
I like
Something to consider
I like
first.
when they do how they're doing
11
it,
o'clock.
right?
You like
Like,
the opposite?
right.
Is a late morning, and then
11 o'clock is
but
great.
then we do our
get right off the
finals
bat.
first.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
true.
don't
I like
have that
that.
whole
That's true.
sitting around makeup melting off your face.
Here's the thing
waiting for guys.
here's the thing with putting pros first in the morning, and this is just from my perspective and knowing what I know about nutrition and whatnot, is if I wake up in the morning and I feel that I'm not really where I need to be, that gives me a couple of hours to correct that little bit.
Absolutely.
If you're trying to fix something early in the morning, you're probably too late.
Right.
But you can do some last minute adjustments that will either fill you up a little more or get a little more water out of you, or whatever the case may be. You can make those little adjustments in a few hours. So if the pros go on later in the morning, it gives you that little bit of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the amateurs, they're probably pretty educated in that department, but not as much as the pros.
Yeah.
So there's kind of you deserve the right as a pro to be able to make those adjustments, and that's
Right.
why we
I
like
think
having a little bit later.
I guess it all comes down to the person who's judging the show or how quick they're moving these people around. Because if you do NPC first, like in the Daytona, a nightmare. I'm sorry, but we will never do that show again because
That's
it's
just
that
that show.
it's unbelievable, right? It's a shit show, and it was because of because I don't know if it was a judge, but whatever. But like I know why things I would have switched, but it's like you need someone who's going to move the NPC competitors out there so that we could start at 11 o'clock for the pros. Like, and we don't know. We might get 250. We don't know. We might get 250 people doing your show, and how do we like being a pro? They should come, in my eyes, they should come first, right? And if we say, okay, well, you're going on stage 11, and then we didn't get on stage till freaking what, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night?
11 after
You know,
11
so I know it's
p.m.
just hard,
Yeah.
and it must be frustrating.
Here's the
when you're-
difficulty, and
When you get back.
I've talked to David's going to be judging the show.
Yep, he's coming next weekend on the podcast. So.
Tim is as well, and one of those two will probably be the head judge.
Yep.
I've talked to both of them and told them that I want the show to go at a fast clip. However, I don't want to rush the athletes on and off because they've been preparing for 16 weeks on a strict diet or a year training for that. So they want that time, and I don't want to take that time from them. However, I don't want to also back everything up to where we're getting out of there at 11 o'clock at night. So there's a fine line you have to draw there. So
Right.
if they do get up there, and I've told both David and Tim, I want it to go very quickly. I don't want everybody to be the judges can do a lot of things. Long story short, they can give you extra time to pose. They can, they can do a lot of things. They can move you around when they don't really need to move you around just to give you that stage time. There's a lot of things they can do. So I've told them that I want everybody to have their chance and a fair chance, time wise, but to keep the show moving.
Yeah.
So
no, I
there's
love that
wasted
because
time.
exactly what you said, they deserve it, right? These people die for 16, sometimes a year, sometimes 2 years for this show, and then they come out there and I don't like it when they just get rushed off like it's no big deal, but I understand because there's a time essence of it. Like I feel like at her show, the reason why, it went so long was because if you were a master's in 45, 50, whatever, all the way up, they gave you a minute routine for every single one of those times, right? It was
The men, they give the men, and then by the time it got to bikini,
Yeah.
we had to just go and do front and back.
yeah. So it's like
didn't
they
even get
rushed
to
the
do
hell
it.
out of her, and I feel like it worked out well for us because we were able to peek her really right, and we got a really good look. But I would have loved to see like if it was ran on time, and like I know it's got to be hard and it's got to be frustrating for you guys because I'm sure you guys are hearing it. I mean, maybe not yet, but you're going to grow. You're going to keep growing, and I'm expecting this to be a huge show, and I'm pretty excited about it. You're going to see.
Well, our plan is to have this show next year be a 2-day show and move into Van Wezel if we can get in there. If not, we'll wait for one of the several performing arts centers that are coming to Sarasota.
What else is
open
there
up in
besides Van Wezel?
There's some things in the works. They aren't built yet.
Gotcha. They're just building.
coming,
Yeah, because I feel like we don't have any like big like auditorium in
Performing
Sarasota yet.
arts,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's hard.
Besides
It's
that.
very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult to find some
Sarasota.
place.
Cozy.
Yeah, but
Just now growing.
But you know what I do love about the Opera House is that backstage. That
It's
backstage
so
is
awesome.
oh my
It's
god.
large. We
So
don't have
good.
to be all cramped up,
We will
Yeah.
have a certain place for pros,
Yeah.
and then we have a place for NPC.
There are
So
more
we-
rooms in the
it will
Opera
be
House
very
that we've
well
not
organized.
accessed
You
yet.
will have
Okay,
some
cool.
space.
That we'll add.
Sweet.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
isn't there
That's being-
upstairs or like a middle?
There is an upstairs.
There is a middle because I went back there with one of my
Yeah.
girls out of Tanner. So
Yeah,
and
there
that's
sure is.
huge. So that could be like
But
that.
we have it planned out.
Are you guys you have access to that? They allow you to do that. They allow you to
Well,
do whatever you
we
want.
rent it.
organize
You know,
it.
Gotcha.
everything
We got the
costs,
whole
but
place.
yeah,
Got you.
that's part of the extra money we spend to make sure the athletes have a good
Enough room.
experience.
Yeah, it's important.
And we give up a lot of
Having
vendor
it.
space to be able to have a venue like that. We could go to wherever we could go to the Ritz and rent the ballroom, and have tons of space and have tons of vendors. But I don't think nothing against the Ritz, but a ballroom with
a
a
ballroom.
stage with pipe and drape
It's a meet.
is as nice
Gonna
as
go
the
meet.
Opera House.
Yeah.
So if I can't
have
have vendors, I
performance.
can't have vendors because there's no room.
Yeah.
But we can have a nice experience for the athletes. That's what matters more.
And that makes sense for
What
sure.
our show's about.
I know Joe the realtor pretty much sponsors your stuff every time. I don't even think he has a booth. He just throws his name up there, right?
Absolutely.
He
And
did one
Joe.
time.
He did
one.
have a
Yeah,
booth
the
one
next
time?
year we just gave him. We had the banners already printed, so
Yep.
we just threw it up there.
Okay.
But sponsors are another thing that I kind of have difficulty dealing with because when you have sponsors that want to pay large sums of money, and I get it, but the show suddenly becomes more about the sponsor, and they want to dictate more than they're supposed to, and the
Right.
show becomes about them or what access they have or what they want changed. And this is our show, and this is our show for the athletes.
Yeah.
This is not your show to advertise your company
Exactly.
and take it over where the athletes become second rate.
Yeah, if you're
That's
500
not the way
bucks,
it's gonna
we're
be.
dealing to the big
You
time
can
now.
pass
Keep your
out a
money,
trophy,
you know.
That's
Yeah.
okay. but,
Nice.
Keep your money.
Thank
It's
you.
simple as that.
No speeches.
So do you go in with a set goal of how much sponsorship money you want? Or how does that work?
It depends on what the sponsor wants. If the sponsor wants this big, gigantic ordeal, I'll calculate it out and see what it's worth to me to have that. If they just want a booth or some advertising on the screen, or there's lots of options available. It just depends on what you want. Simple as that. Some of the difficulty that I have with sponsors as well is if we say print shirts, something like that, or if I do all the graphics for the LED wall. If I create those, I tell the sponsor, we need your stuff by a certain date. And invariably, that date passes and I don't have what I need.
Yeah.
So I print the shirts and then it doesn't have them and then they complain.
They complain.
Well, you didn't make it by the date. So you're not going to back me up because you have 10 million other things to do.
Yeah.
It just becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So keep your $100 for putting your logo on the shirt. I don't want to deal with it,
Yeah, exactly.
So that's when it becomes really difficult.
Gotcha. You're not necessarily doing the sponsorships for the money for the most part. Like there's too much big stuff going on.
We,
Like,
we
it's
have the
to
money to be able to put the show on and give the athletes a good experience without the sponsors.
Yeah.
The sponsors would just be
nice.
money that
Icing
comes
on the
back to
cake.
us.
Yeah,
It's
that's perfect.
simple as that. So
Place to
do I
come.
need them? No. If they want to come, they're more than welcome.
Yeah.
But I don't need them.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of space for them in this venue.
There's not.
As a matter of fact.
Yes, probably got to be picky anyway.
Yeah.
But sometimes people want to know: is there going to be a live stream to your show?
Thank
Okay.
goodness. Yeah.
Cool.
That's crazy. Like I St. Louis,
Yep. No live stream.
there was no live stream. I'm like, this is a pro show. How do you not
That
have
was
a
a
live
huge-
stream?
guys, that was a
And there was
huge
like
show.
700 competitors.
Yeah,
people
about
like
400.
Do you want to know the reason for
Was
that?
Tatone show? Tatone?
No idea.
I have no idea. It was the
Louis? Yeah.
Midwest something.
That's all.
It's
St.
really
Louis
difficult
Pro.
to find a good live stream company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, they want to take a huge bite,
Yeah.
or they're not reliable, or they want to do things their own way. You know, I work with a company now that they charge me one price no matter what happens, no matter how many live streams we sell. It's very simple. They sit there in their little corner and they do their thing, and at the end of the day, they cut me a check and it's done. You know?
Gotcha.
So I deal with them. So yeah, every show from this point on, regardless if it's the TOC by itself, which it will never be again, or you know the Florida Pro, there will always be a live stream, and that will be on the website in a big gigantic link that says live stream,
Yeah.
and then you can choose what live stream you want. There's one for both there's one for each prejudging and one for each night show.
Okay,
and then there will be a package for
shows.
all four together.
Gotcha.
Same with
Okay.
tickets.
Sweet.
Four tickets
So
for it all.
when you guys first started promoting the show, did you ever imagine it getting this big? And then since it's gotten this big, what more plans do you guys have for the future?
I think he always knew it was going to be big.
Yeah.
I dream big.
That's me too.
Yeah.
man.
It's not big, I don't do it.
Yep.
He always knew that. I'm the conservative one. Sure, we got that.
Are you sure we're good here?
You know, I make sure we get some athletes in here, collect some more people. So I'm a little more conservative, but I think he dreams big and he makes stuff happen.
To
As far as
that,
anything else,
I married you, didn't I?
as far as any other plans,
To that point, the
gonna retire.
in choosing what I wanted to call the show, we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it, and then it just came to me that, you know, what is one of the biggest pro shows out there? New York Pro.
Yeah.
Another big pro show, the Texas Pro.
Title.
You know, so that
California
title
Pro.
means a lot.
Yes.
The Cal Pro. So, you know, it's nothing against any other pro show name, but if you're gonna put together a show that you want to have the prestige and you're investing the money and you're giving the athletes an experience like they're not going to find anywhere else, it needs a title to match.
Yes.
And that is the Florida
They
Pro.
want to earn
That's
it.
very good.
The Florida Pro it's big. You know, it sounds big. It is big.
It's a state.
And it's something that you're proud of to say that you won.
Yeah.
I think to be honest, man, just looking at the name Florida Pro, like exactly what you said, you got New York, you got Chicago, you got Texas, you got Cali. We got the Florida Pro now.
It's right up there
You know,
with it.
I'm so happy that you picked that name when I saw it because you're so right, man. Like those are the big time shows, and now we have a show in Florida that is big time. You know, and like nothing against anyone else, but like Battle of the Bodies is sick. You know, Clash is sick. That's Joe's line. But like we definitely needed that. I'm so surprised someone has not done that. Already. Like what are we doing? Like
I just
like,
kind
He
of.
just thinks of stuff.
you know,
I was talking to Tyler about it, and I said, Tyler, the show is. I'm looking 10 years ahead. You know, the show is going to be massive. It's just going to be that way. So I want to call the show a name that's equivalent to where it's going. And I said, the Florida Pro is what I want. He said, it sounds great. So that was that.
Gotcha. So when you say you talk to the IFBB to make these shows and add more classes, what is the IFBB? There's what is that? Like, is that like you? Is it Tyler? Is it someone you call? Is there? You got your in. So is that Tyler you contact?
It is Tyler.
For the most part.
It's
Yeah.
Tyler.
So because I know he's been the top dog now for the
Well,
most
he's
part. I
vice
know.
president.
Yeah.
He's running it.
Gotcha.
Doing a great
He's
job.
running it well.
You talk to you have a district chairman, which of course for the Central District is David. So you talk to him, and nowadays, if I were to talk to David and say, I want to add another pro show or whatever the case may be, David then can't make that decision himself, which he used to be able to, or the central or the district chairman or state chairman used to be able to make that decision. Now they can't.
Gotcha.
All of your information and your request gets sent right up to Tyler, and Tyler makes the final decision.
Is it because it's getting too big and they don't want that many shows? They're trying to be a little more selective.
Tyler is being really, really cautious about what's being put out there now. So
What's the standard?
he's raising the standard on whatever whatever is out there, and he doesn't want a lot of shows just popping up and being fly by night. And you have to be vetted, and
Gotcha.
It's got to go straight into his hands. He vets you, and then after that, you get your decision. And sometimes that decision, may take weeks or months. For me, it took a phone call. You know, so
Oh, for the pro show, yeah.
yeah, it just depends. But yeah, it all goes through Tyler.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, they know that like you've been in this industry, so is Holly for a long period of time. They want to see that consistency before they give you that. Like, obviously, I think I'm a big dreamer too. I feel like someday when you guys retire, you know what I'm saying, we'll make one in Sarasota.
But we were already talking about that. Like after we
Yeah.
left your show, he was like, "What?" He asked me a question. He's like, "Where do you see us going like in 5 years?" I was like, "Well, I mean, it would be cool maybe later on down the line to maybe promote our own show." You know what I'm saying?
Well, some advice there is keep your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And just
doing
wait.
good.
Just
Keep
wait.
doing good
Yeah.
work.
You know,
Yeah.
you
You gotta be
reputation.
patient.
can't
That's
push
it.
anything, but if you just wait,
Absolutely.
that door will open up somehow, some way,
Yep.
at the right moment.
Be generous.
And we're talking years.
Yeah,
down the road.
absolutely.
We're
Like,
still
that's way
building.
down the line.
We want a gym, of course, in Sarasota. We want to build different things, and we've talked a lot about this. But I think having a show someday would be pretty sick. Maybe
would be
5,
so
10 years
awesome,
from now, or a little bit. We'll see. We'll see when you guys retire. Like I said, maybe when you get, you're in September, so maybe we'll do like April or something. We'll figure it out. But we're really excited, man, to have a local show. Like I said, I can't say it enough. Like what you guys are doing with this community. It's not been done. And I feel like that's the same way with like our team. Like we're exploding.
Yeah.
Like in Sarasota.
Yeah.
Congratulations
I've seen
to you
that,
guys for
yeah.
doing
Thank you
that.
so much. Appreciate you guys.
Amazing to watch.
Thank you. And we're going to keep growing. We're going to
I
keep
know.
getting coaches. I have Dustin, I have Raven now, and we're just going to keep exploding.
Doing great too.
Yeah, I think she's got 2 or 3 people going. That's what I'm saying. Between me, I have 12. He has 2. I think Raven has 3. So and it's not even 16 weeks out yet. Or like right at fit, 14? 14 now?
14.
So,
Today.
Yeah.
It's Monday. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm super excited. It's going to be a battle.
Well, you'll see things starting to gear up. I've been dealing with some health issues, so I haven't been on top of it as much as I have been in past years. But you'll see in probably the next week or two, stuff start rolling out. About the show a lot. Usually, I start right when the sanction is paid, the end of last year.
Yeah.
But I've just been a little preoccupied. But you'll start seeing a lot of info coming up on the show. A lot of details, things like that.
hype
It'll
it
just
up.
start being in your face a lot
Yeah.
more.
Hype it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
and we obviously do our best as a community to tag you guys. Like I always try to tag you guys and
appreciate
anyone who's
that, yeah.
competing, especially when people start getting there. So we're gonna have a lot of clients coming to this one.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of beasts. Kevin's
Everybody
getting that
looks,
overall.
though. They
I'm
want to
telling
know
you.
who their competition is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Kevin looks really good.
Kevin's a tank.
Yeah.
I'm very happy he decided to come. He was actually with Tommy, which was a coach on my team before, but Tommy doesn't really want to coach anymore. He owns Muscle Salem down there, so he's just focused on being a gym owner. And then Kevin reached out, and I'm like, let's win this, man.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oof, man, he's gonna be.
He's got a
nice.
great physique, great genetics.
Yes, he does. Yep. And we're really hoping, obviously, she can win her class in Masters because we want to try to make it to the Masters Olympia someday. So, and we want to win Sarasota. We can't just let people come here and win.
It's my hometown now. You know what I mean? Like hometown boy, got to come over here and represent. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'd love to do your guys' video again, but I'm probably going to be
Great video. I clipped some of it.
I know, I saw
thought
it.
it was so great. I thought that I changed enough that I wouldn't get
hilarious.
beat up or something like that. But it was great. I loved it.
No, it's not a problem whatsoever. I'm just appreciative that you guys enjoyed it that much, and I didn't do it.
It was
I did
amazing.
it out of love.
It was amazing.
We felt that.
It was a great competition,
Love
and
you back for it.
yeah.
It was great.
It takes a lot for me to say wow, and I said
was
wow
really
right
wow.
away
Yeah.
when I
Thank
saw
you.
it the first
Thank
time. Yeah.
Did you drone that one or no?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did a little
Drawn
drone
that
in the
one, right?
beginning. Yeah. Dropped it
pretty
down
sick.
in between some buildings to see the opera house, and then it's
I
pretty
think I
fun.
remember that. No, it was super sick. He's been killing it with the videography, the photography. He's just
I'm the
very
producer,
blessed
editor
all
of this thing. So
Very talented.
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I mean, he's
Awesome
just
job.
been getting better. This is our 5th episode now, so he's just been getting better and better and better. So
fun.
really excited, man. But no, for real, thank you guys so much for coming. I know we're probably going a little over time, maybe.
Not yet. We're doing pretty.
We can keep
good,
going,
right?
man.
So yeah, we started at 3:30. We got some time. We got about 15 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the questions that I think you had sent, so we could have an idea of
Yeah.
what you wanted was. What advice would be given to the pros, the amateurs, that type of thing.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And that struck me because that's one of the points that I push hard in the seminars, and I know you heard me say it at Tampa. And what advice would I give to an amateur as a judge and a national competitor as well as a pro? And it's all the same advice. It would be do not think that what you see in any particular contest, when someone wins a contest, that represents exactly what the judges are looking for. And that comes into when competitors start saying, well, we don't know what you're looking for. We don't know what you want. We as judges know what we want. It's just not always given to us. So we have to pick the best out of what we have. And here's what happens is if you get five guys, or let's do bikini. You get 5 girls in bikini, and they all look fairly good. And then you get a first place who's maybe a little bigger than the rest of the girls. But she represents the bikini class the best. She is not exactly what the criteria calls for, but she's closest to the criteria, more so than the other 4. So she winds up winning because we have to give it to somebody.
Yeah.
So then someone sitting in the audience sees that. And then they go home and train for the next year to match that physique.
Gotcha.
Then they come in to compete the next year and they get beat,
Yeah.
even though they've emulated what they saw the year before. And they say, well, you judges don't know what you're looking for, or what you want, because you picked that last year and now you pick something else.
Yeah.
We're trying to pick exactly the same thing. It's just last year we were presented with that 5 group. Now we're presented with this 5 group, where someone in this group actually represents what that group criteria calls for.
Right.
Not the girl that you emulated that you saw last year. So it's not like the girl that wins the class or the guy that wins the class. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
It's just the closest to the criteria. So my advice is to every athlete, go on npcnewsonline.com, read the criteria. And when you get ready to form your physique in whatever way you want for whatever division you want, follow that criteria. Because if you follow that criteria enough, eventually you will wind up winning your class because you will match the criteria we're looking for. Yeah. Same criteria every year. Than someone else who thinks that, we're looking for something that we're not.
And the Olympia winners.
Yeah, same thing.
So that exactly just said right there, right? Whenever I take an athlete on, I said, look, don't look at no shows. Go to the Olympia, look at the first call-outs in the Olympia, and compare yourself to them. Of course, not everyone's going to do that, but compare yourself to them because that's it. That's what you're trying to achieve.
Trying to achieve, yeah.
Yeah. So I think you hit the nail on the head.
That because we chose someone, all of a sudden we've changed what we're supposed to be looking for.
Or like wellness right now. Like everyone's like, let's just say no one showed up the first few years, right? We know that. They're still building. And now you're starting to see people starting to show up because they're building. But the first few years, it was like out of shape, wellness girls that were thick that thought they should be bikini if they dieted properly, but they don't. And they win. And people look like, oh, well, you were one of the soft look last year. But then you get this, it doesn't make sense,
Yeah, exactly.
That's all that was there.
That's what was available.
Yeah.
That's what was
Right.
to choose
That's
from.
what was
I like
presented.
how Tyler's doing the recaps after the
I
pro
love that.
shows.
I love that. Yeah,
Then it gives insight into behind the decision making and why.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually going to be the head judge for the Miami that I'm doing, so that's going to be pretty cool. So to get in front of him.
Yeah, Tyler's sick. I mean, he's been killing it. And honest, his recaps, like sometimes I don't agree with some of the stuff he says, but then I sit there and I look at it like objectively. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like with the Amy, and Amy and Sharon, like when he broke down that, I saw why he gave it to Amy, right? She's a little more.
They're very, very particular.
yeah.
I mean, it's so minute. Everybody's so
Yeah.
good at that level.
Yeah.
They have
Same
to
with
pick
Nick
them
Walker
apart.
and them. It's once you get him up there, he just has the eye, so he just picks them apart. And it's got to be hard for a judge.
have
You
to-
judge.
you
Sometimes
have to really get
it's
the
probably
eye.
hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
There's probably some close calls.
We go back and forth all the time, whether it's her and I or,
We don't
all of
always
us.
agree either.
Yeah.
There's 5 of us, and her and I disagree many times,
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's just the way it is, and that's why there's 5 of us and not one of us.
I always pick the winner.
Yeah.
She does a good job.
She's like, listen,
Trust me.
you be quiet. This is
does
the
a
one
good
who's
job.
winning.
She's like, I'm 100% on the winner.
I'm 100. I saw them come out.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
number one.
So
I know it like that.
NPC shows like that, I know that you judge with obviously the best in the world. So when you're sitting there and there's 5 judges, how many times does it come down to that split wire? Is it that how it is in NPC where it's like if you're looking at overall, you'll all you'll take 2 or 3. It's like 2 person versus for this person, 3 votes for this person, and that person wins. Is that still how it works in the NPC shows for the most part?
Yeah.
It's-
the
you talking about the
we pick our
scorecard?
Top 5.
So
and
let's
then-
just say you win your class, right? Who determines if you win your class? Is it just the head judge? Because there's no way that
Oh,
when
no.
it's going that
No.
fast, how does it sometimes they're moving.
Here's what happens if you have a
So
class
pick
of
the top 5, then you place them,
And then-
they tally it.
Got you. So every single person
Well, top 5. I mean,
does
the whole
that in the NPC.
7, 10,
Yeah.
however
Yeah.
many there are.
Got
You
you.
put them in order, and then they tally those votes.
And that is
who
every
got
single
the
class
lowest
they do
every
that?
single class.
if you have like
Now,
15
overall, it's a
people.
little different.
Yeah.
Because that's live judging.
Yeah.
If you have 15 people, the head judge will ask you to turn in your top 5.
That's what I'm talking about.
And,
Gotcha.
we'll write down our top 5 on little scratches of paper. We'll hand them over to the head judge. He'll tally up the top 5 that everybody wants
We'll
to
make
see.
those call-outs.
And there will be your
Gotcha.
first 5.
Yeah.
And we choose.
It's very interesting because I've always thought that it's just the head judge makes the call outs, it makes everything, Like, okay, let's just say it's Steve Weinberger there. Do you guys, obviously it's Steve, so you don't want to step on his toes, but it's still the same process no matter what.
No matter what.
No matter
So
what.
if you have a judge, they always have a say for the most part.
Yeah, head judge will make the calls.
Yep.
This is who I want to see. Usually we're in agreement on that. 'Cause
Yeah.
top five, you usually can really tell.
Yeah, especially at that
And
position.
then when he moves them around, he's moving them around because we want to see him from different angles.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a
And,
lot of
he'll
saying,
kind of set up his top five, but we don't always put exactly that.
Got you.
It's still an opinion.
to make sure that the top five that are the top five are the correct top five, that's where we turn in our top five, and he doesn't
And
really.
they tally it.
So that top five may not be exactly 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5. It may be 2, 3, 1, 5.
6
Something
and
like
5
that.
can,
Yeah.
So it just depends. The head judge, his job is to make sure the show runs correctly. It runs quickly to make
the
sure
calls
that
turns.
make sure the calls are done correctly.
Yeah. So the head judge is turning them, moving them, but for the
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
part, it's a collective
They're
thing.
judging.
It is
Yeah.
collective.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Cool.
So I mean, I understand like anytime that a competitor comes out, they want to obviously acknowledge the head judge and always angle towards the head judge. Is it beneficial all the time that when you're all the way on the end or the edge of the line, to always angle towards the
I love
judges?
it. I love it. It's an
I mean, to angle,
acknowledgement.
right?
It's an acknowledgement that the judges are here.
Right.
They know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because we have
I
every
think
single one
it
of our
is a-
clients do that.
I
You
think
know,
it's a positive.
Yeah.
I don't think you would get marked down for it, but definitely a judge wants to see you from your best angle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether you're in the mandatories or
Right. So no matter what, always angle towards that head judge, even though that
don't
we have
extreme it,
JJ.
don't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the judge will tell you square up. If you're
Exactly.
if you're one too much, they'll tell you
Crazy.
square up.
Absolutely.
And I only ever tell my athletes to do that when there's 6 or more. If there's 6 and they spread you out pretty far, then yeah. But not every time. Like we experienced that at your show.
Yeah.
There was only 4, and he's angling differently. Like I don't think we need to do that.
But
we can
But when
switch
you're on
ends.
stage, he's so used to it. He's like, oh, I want to get.
I want everybody.
Becky, I'm showing you my best.
Yeah.
So it's got to be. It's got to be tough. For
If
an
we're
athlete
having a
make
tough
that.
time, the head judge we can ask the head judge anything we want. Can I see
Yeah.
number 7 standing over there in the corner? Can I see them with this group? And they'll call them out. So we can do whatever. But something to also remember is, and I find this a lot, is usually if you're doing your top 5, where you've got those 5 people. We're really quick at that. Sometimes I struggle with other placings though as I'm writing my scorecards.
Yeah.
And if I'm having trouble with maybe 6th or 7th and there's 15 people, even though there's something going on in front of me, I'm probably done with what's going on in front of me. And I'm looking over there to see where I like this person as compared to that person. And they're over there like they're waiting for the bus. They're just
not.
they're just off of it, And
on the whole time.
you
you're
got to
stage.
be on every single
seen
minute.
that.
You're
Thank-
not just
thank God for
you're not just
telling
being looked at while you're standing right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's a great tip for all of y'all out there. I mean, I've even seen it on the pro stage for my first competition. I mean, I didn't get first call outs, but cool. I'm sitting there no matter what, and I'm locked in on my
Stay on.
pose, and I'm smiling at the judges. But I noticed that there are other pros on the other side that they're just like,
That's a very easy way to lose a place.
defeated. And I'm just like, wow, why would you do that? I don't know.
Yeah, you're on stage for like
locked in.
3 minutes, bro. Come
know
on,
what I mean?
keep it
Come on.
together.
And
You
keep
can't
in
do it
mind,
tight.
if you're standing there and you're locked in and you look good, I can very easily, no matter where I am at the judges' table, say, "Can I see number 6 in
Yeah,
this
if you
group
look
here?
better.
I can call
Yeah.
you back out
Yeah.
to take a look at you."
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to do that to somebody standing over in the corner that's
How
you know.
respectful to the sport.
Exactly.
If they're just like whatever.
Yeah.
Why am I?
Yeah.
you know,
So that's something we teach
trying?
all the athletes. We've
Yeah.
talked about that many times.
Stay
Like
locked
even
in.
if you're, no matter what, the head judge is
second
that
you're on
swivel
stage.
point, right? So if you're, it doesn't matter if you're over here, over here, over here, over here, waiting in line, keep it tight. And like even like when Emma walked out on stage, I was like, listen, the judges are judging you the second they see you, so you need to keep it tight. So when you're waiting over here, don't just sit there,
Exactly.
smile,
Yeah.
stand tall, get ready for battle, and then the whole time, So
For sure.
I'm so glad that you guys brought that up. 'Cause
When you
it's a
are
huge
on
point.
stage, you are on stage. No matter where you are on stage, you are on stage.
We're always looking around.
And so I might be giving away one of my secrets, but I believe that this is a great piece of advice for everybody who is an NPC. When you are going for an overall, okay, and you got the guys lined up, you switched them around, you ran through their poses, you did all that stuff, the comparison is done. Now it's like, all right, DJ, right? Let's do the free pose. Are you going to be more looking at the guys just standing on that line, or do you, the moment that music starts, if this guy commands the stage, goes all the way, it doesn't matter if he's all the way on the side, just beats everybody to the front, right front center, locks eyes with you, smiles, and hits their pose. Are you going to be more looking at this guy in terms of commanding the stage? And maybe he might have, or he or she might have a one-up on versus everybody who are just standing back.
We're talking
there, or
about
like-
if it's close.
How
If it's really close, does that make a difference?
I think most of the judging is done. It's
done.
And then
At
you're
that
having
point?
a good time.
Okay.
And I think that's, you guys as a competitor, a good time to go off and show your hard work.
Yeah.
Just, show that competitive edge, like, hey, buddy, like, one up him and just prove your point.
Right.
I won, prove
Yeah.
your point. But, yeah, the judges.
It's already been done.
Yeah.
Here's the caveat to that.
Yeah.
There could be.
If there's say you're trying the overall for men's bodybuilding,
Yeah.
and you're the lightweight, and you're that lightweight that comes up and is all the craziness like that, but say the light heavy won, the lightweight can be as boisterous as he wants to be and be up front. I'm not going to be looking at him probably, since the judging's done. I'm going to be looking at that lightweight that probably ran, or somebody else that really impressed me. So it's not who's in my face. It's who impressed me during the course of the show. And there was a classic physique guy when we were judging Mid-Florida a couple years ago that looked really good in his classic poses. And he actually posed in a classic way. And he looked really good. And I just kept looking at him. I was very impressed with him. And
flow was good.
he drew my attention. So, regardless of what else was happening on stage, I was more in tune with that. And that burned a memory. So the next time I saw him in another show, I looked at him a little more maybe than I should have, or looked at him longer than everybody else. So if I'm impressed with your physique, that's what captures me.
Gotcha.
So it's the hard work in the gym, not the hard work in that pose down after the judging is done.
But I will remember.
So, I've seen it sometimes, and I don't know how true this is, right? Again, you guys are saying that it's not, but I've seen a lot of shows, right? I've seen David do this, right? He'll do the pose down, and there's nobody writing nothing. They're just looking for probably 30, 40 seconds, and then they're looking and they're watching, and it's that close. We're talking about when two athletes that they both deserve it, right? They're both amazing competitors. We're not talking about one's a beast and one's not. We're not talking about that. Two amazing competitors. And I literally see nobody writing. I'm looking at the table, right? Nobody's writing nothing. Then eventually they turn and they're like, okay. And that's like 45 seconds after the posing. So do you think, is like that's how you guys do it? But you've never seen that done. Usually when it's overall done and posed out, like it's done. Once the pose down's done, it's already done. That's what you're saying, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Turn in your numbers.
The pose time, the
You turn
pose
in your
down.
numbers.
It's for fun.
Sorry.
That's it.
I was just going to say the pose down is a time for us to finish the tallies, because if I see the lightweight as first place, I'm writing lightweight first, this person second, third.
Yep.
I hand it to the head judge. He tallies everything up. When the pose down starts, he's tallying up those.
gotcha.
It's already done.
So
So
when
he's
they're looking,
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make
that's
sense.
time for us to get the
Gotcha.
scoring
Makes sense.
tallied and done, while the audience gets something to look at.
Yeah.
Well, either way, we're trying to make your show fun. We're trying to make them go out there and, get into it. But
Battle going.
yeah,
Stuff
but-
like that is
It's nice to
exciting, and
see.
we enjoy that.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
We
helps
want
the-
that.
It helps the audience. It helps the competitors.
Yeah.
And burns a memory.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
it'll benefit you no matter what if you put on a good show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's give you guys a little bit of time to why should a competitor choose this show? Why is this show that much different? We'll give you guys a little time to speak on that before we wrap it up.
Because we're the best in Sarasota, in Florida.
Well,
We're
not
a
even just
Florida
Sarasota.
show.
I think Florida.
Florida show. Well, there's
a hard one.
there's a lot of competitors in Sarasota. There's a lot of good athletes in Sarasota.
Yes, there is.
We have so many more gyms, so we really want a place for you guys in Sarasota to show your hard work. So giving you that opportunity, it's a beautiful stage. It is worthy of your hard work. So
Absolutely.
I think that if I was still competing, that is something that I would definitely consider. I don't want to walk on that's just me. I don't want to walk in a hotel room, ballroom stage. I don't want to do that. I want to walk out on a giant stage and give a big performance, feel really good about myself.
Yes.
Elvis was on that stage, but still, you walk out there and it's special.
It is.
It's special. The whole place is beautiful. There's a nice vibe to it. So as an athlete, that stage is special. The other things are, it's well connected. to downtown Sarasota. The hotel is amazing. It's walking distance. It's very convenient. They really cater to the guests. And also, we have the best expediters.
Yes.
It's run impeccably.
Let's give them a shout out. They are
yeah.
amazing.
Those
They're the
are
same group
awesome.
of like 4 or 5 guys go out every time.
We hire
Amazing.
extra expediters and so that it will run smooth. So
That's Richie. We get him
Oh, yeah,
the
love
judges
you. Love
are
them.
assigned to us.
so
We
awesome.
can't pick the judges.
Yeah.
But the expediters we can. So that does make the show run really well.
Wow.
Not to mention our prizes and stuff.
I just want to make sure that if you were to say go to one show, then another show, then another show, weekend after weekend, there's a lot of similarity in show after show after show after show, and it becomes less about the environment because it's not really that captivating. And there's nothing that captures you. You don't walk in and go, wow, it's just, and I'm not trying to downplay anybody else's show. I'm just saying there's a better way to do things sometimes. And I want our event to be the same as it's been every single time. When you walk in, you're like, wow, this is different than when I went to this show or that show or whatever, and again, it's not deriding anybody else's show by any means, but I want you to be able to walk in the door and get something that you're not going to get anywhere else, and that's why we choose the Opera House, which is 5 times more expensive than most of the venues people deal with. Our hotel is a 4-star hotel. It's one of 45 properties in the country that's a signature property for the Marriott. It's on the top echelon of their property list. I make sure that the hotel is right on the same block as the venue. So if you got to walk, you're in the heat for a minute, and that's it. So you park your car once and you don't have to drive anywhere else for the whole weekend. So I just want to make sure that they get an experience like they're not going to get anywhere else. I don't care what show it is. So
Perfect.
it's just, it has to be different, and it has to be set apart from everyone else. It's as simple as that. And if I see somebody sneaking up on my heels, they're starting to do what I do, rest assured that I'm going even further, whatever that may be, So you will always get something that you'll never get somewhere else at our events.
I have one more thing to add. As the years have gone by, the quality of competitor keeps going up.
Yes.
So last year, our classic physique was
Wild.
stacked.
It was.
Wild.
We had
Bodybuilding, too.
Incredible lineup. So, I mean, if you want good competition, if you want to show up and just get a participation award, you probably will. But, you get a nice medal. You'll get, some nice prizes. But if you want to compete, it's definitely got a level competitor that's improving every year.
Absolutely.
I can
Totally
say that
agree.
honestly.
Yeah.
And now with the pros, you'll be in the audience, you'll see the pros,
Yeah.
you'll see the amateurs know what they're striving for.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the Pro-Am.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it firsthand from watching your show for my first time, and then filming it and seeing the LED wall behind you, and like again how you take care of your athletes and just the level of hospitality and respect and everything that you give back to the community.
I appreciate that.
It's so
Means a
awesome.
lot.
But when I saw our athletes up there, I was always like, man, this would be such a cool stage to compete on. But I was a pro. I just turned pro at that time.
Well,
guys
there
didn't have
you
a pro.
go. I mean,
And as you
now-
there it is.
Put it out
Now
there.
we got the
And
Florida
we
Pro,
heard
and
it.
I was just like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
we got
excited
it.
about it. And I mean, I can't not do it.
I mean, the second we heard about it, we were like, that's our first stop.
That we revolve our year around it.
Yeah, we literally have.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. The
Yeah.
second
excited.
Like, there might be
you.
before and after, but that's the center point of the year.
Yeah.
that's
The
good.
second it was dropped, both of us sent it to each other. We're like, okay, yeah, we're doing this one
The
first.
axis of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's like,
It's
oh, we
so
might
cool.
want to do a warm up show just so we can be ready for that show. I'm like, no.
Like, nah, you don't need that.
We'll just shoot straight for that
can't
one.
wait to
You
see
know,
you
she don't
down
want to
with
get
it
the
again.
rust out, but
Cannot wait to see
yeah, no, it's going to be so excited. What do you got to say? Anything?
No, it's
How
getting me
excited you are.
nervous, excited, all the feelings.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute battle.
I will say real quick that if you're an athlete and you need a hotel room, I don't care if you pay your entry fee the day of the show. That's fine by me. A lot of show promoters rely on that entry fee money to do what they need to do to get the show rolling.
Yep.
We're in a position lucky enough where we don't have to do that. So if you want to pay your entry fee the day of the show, we're fine with that. Get your hotel. Spend that money on your hotel. Lock that hotel in because it sells out every single year.
Yeah.
You know, so
I've already
just
got
make sure you
mine.
get that.
Because even though I
Even though you live here.
She's
right
like,
here, it doesn't matter. You need the
wanna be
peace.
close
You
to
need
your
to get in
Yes.
the right mental
Yeah.
state.
Yes.
wanna be
You'll
close to
you
your
know
kids.
depending on where tan, makeup,
Yeah.
like I need it for my
Oh, I've
mental
seen this
state
girl's
for sure.
piece. She's got.
no idea.
She got like she is. Dude, she's on it.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's
Brings
crazy.
the microwave, brings her sister in the microwave.
Compression.
Just because
Oh,
it
yeah,
looks
she's in
cute,
there.
the little
Been
blue
there,
one,
done it.
you know.
Great.
Yeah, no, it's super
got the
exciting.
focus.
We actually have 3 people flying down too, so I'll definitely let them know to grab that hotel because I
Yeah,
want
it-
everyone.
It's
in
an
town.
awesome rate. It's like 184 or something like
That's
that
not
for,
bad.
Yeah,
for
at that
that
hotel,
hotel.
that's
Is
so
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 nights, $400, call it a day. I'm telling you, man, it's so important to get the host hotel. Like I hate when people get like Airbnbs like 20 minutes away.
Dude.
I'm like,
How are
bro,
you going to help them as a coach? You
the
can't
thing,
go there.
let's say I fly out and I stay in their Airbnb. Now, okay, if I wanted to like go check on this athlete, I have to Uber from this. If I have multiple athletes, I have to Uber here to here to here. And it's just like it's so much easier just getting the host hotel.
There's a hassle factor there
Everybody
involved as
together.
you're an athlete as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's so nice to be able to get off stage after prejudging, go crash to the hotel, get something to eat, whatever. It's, 100 steps away.
Yeah.
And then, when time comes, you don't have to worry about the next getting to the hotel, finding a place to park, or getting to the venue, finding a place to park, dealing with all of that hassle when you've got enough to worry about.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to compete,
And if you guys don't know, literally the host hotel is like not even 30 seconds away from the venue there. So
And that's a 30-second walk.
It's a 30-second
Not a
walk.
second drive.
yeah, you don't need to go
Right
nothing.
there.
It's a one-stop shop in Sarasota, #1 beach in the world.
Number one beach, baby.
Gotta
Come
It's a
on.
beautiful hotel too.
Did this one.
I was there for the first time.
Yeah.
Motivation.
Closing.
Man, I'm just so happy that you guys came to our show and honored us with our 5th episode.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations.
You know,
and thank you.
it's so awesome to have. Appreciate you, Stacy, Holly,
you.
Jackie coming out. I look forward to competing with you on stage for
Yeah.
the first time. That's gonna be
Look
awesome.
Yes,
forward to
that'll be
seeing
fun.
you
Yeah,
guys.
that's gonna be crazy.
So
Backstage
excited.
pumping them
Cool,
up.
both of us. Yeah.
It's gonna be pumped. No,
If
but
anybody needs any information, it's all on the website. The information's added now weekly.
Okay.
It's IFBBFloridaPro.com.
perfect.
IFBBFloridaPro.com. There you go.
You heard it here.
And the IG.
And the Instagram is same, IFBB Florida Pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I mean, we had to get you guys on this podcast, and I'm so thankful to get you guys on here. I reach out to the anybody local. I'm trying to get them on first. We've been getting flooded with the DMs from people trying to come on, but I love, the fact that you guys have this show here, the fact that like I am like coming up in Sarasota. We have a huge team here, so thank you for coming on the podcast. Cannot wait for your Florida show, and super excited. So
Yeah.
episode 5.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you there.
Let's get it. Oh yeah. Sweet.